everybody, it's Monday.
I was going to say, welcome to this Monday edition of the Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And thanks for tuning in here with us tonight. I think, honestly, the last week and a half, the last few podcasts, since we talked to Razor Ice Hoggers, actually, we had kind of a glitch in the Facebook world of whatever was going on. And I think, honestly, we were not able to come to you guys live, and that was a Facebook glitch. We're so sorry. So it looks like it's connected tonight. So if you are tuning in from Facebook, give us a shout out, say hi, say hello, all of those fun things, because we're excited to be here with you guys. And actually, to be honest, I got so excited about that, I just started jumping in. So, I mean, I guess normally in this time we start with a fishing report.
Hey, Chad.
But I think at this point, if you still have a boat out, first of all, I'm interested in that. Let us know where you're at or where there's a launch. And otherwise, if you are already on ice, then we are interested in that as well. I guess don't give up your spots. Early ice can be so touchy, right? Go and check your own ice, right? But let us know maybe in your area if you know where it's at. Let us know your conditions.
Yeah, and also, since we're back up and running, thank you, Facebook, for finally fixing that. We're probably going to do another drawing. I forgot to grab the prizes, but we can. And we added some more because the last time we talked, it was with iShack Share and then Lakewood. And those two, we couldn't get prizes out because we couldn't get the stream to work. So we finally got that fixed. We got a bunch of stuff. Emily and I went out and we had to refill the money bag? Yeah, the money bag. We had to refill the money bag and get some prizes in there. So make sure you
the money bag is a Lakewood case specifically. I know that's like a funny name to call it, but it's actually
make sure you go and you comment on the Crappie Junction live stream after the show if you're not watching already. If you are, throw a comment in and you'll be put in the random picker. As far as fishing report, like Emily said, we haven't been fishing. I was deer hunting a little bit, took a nap in the stand. No, I didn't. I just didn't see anything. And got some stuff done around the house. Everything's charged. Everything is taken down, taken out of boxes. Everything's good to go. And
this cat is just ambushing this podcast right now.
And so we've seen a few people, few brave souls, braver than me, out on 2 inches of ice around the state.
I was going to say, wait a minute. Not that I want to get into this debate, but I don't know if brave is a funny word in this situation because, each person, depending on maybe how much you weigh or what the ice clarity was or a million different factors, right? There are some people out there that might feel like they can go out on 2 inches. There are some people out there that wait until a full 6. And I think, honestly, as far as ice fishing goes, as long as you are able to come on back so you can go on back, if that makes sense, right? I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah, I mean, just be smart. That's what it comes down to. Know your limits. Me, I just don't really care to go that much. There's other stuff to do. There's 2 weeks left to get the last minute stuff at the shows. And so that's where we're going to spend our time, is getting those last little things, helping other people get those last little things. And when we're done, it'll be like ice was just there when we're done. So we'll be so busy, then fishing. And Fisher Cat's happy about that.
Oh my goodness.
Kayla, so Eric, hi. Todd, hi.
We did
Jeff,
just spend part of the weekend switching over some of our tackle from summer to winter because honestly, there are quite a few things that they are all the seasons. So that was a good time. But other than that, we are going to be going around checking ice after these expos. So again, let us know where you're at in your ice fishing season. Let us know if you're ready for ice fishing. Some people are still out on the boat. Chad, what state are you in? Remind us of that because we have ice over our water here. Well, but for the people checking in, good to see you guys as well. And we are so excited to bring in our guest for this evening. So without further ado, let's bring Dan into the show.
Hey, Dan.
Evening.
Thanks so much for being here with us tonight.
Glad to be here.
So, we feel like we are so lucky to bump into you, I don't know, like 5 times during expo season at least, right? But for people who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name's Dan Hogan. I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or just north of there. But our company, Cold Snap, is actually in Minnesota. So we got some good people over there, Katie and Jackie, who run the day-to-day operations and get stuff shipped out to all the internet orders and all the retailers that we work with. Been in the ice fishing and fishing business for about 22 years now. So yeah, so we've been at it for quite a while. Just keep growing, adding new products every year, and it's been fun. So it's learned a lot along the way, and every year is something new.
That is like I set you up for that segue for what I was going to say next. I swear to you, I did not. But I think when I think of Cold Snap, that's what I think of is like an evolving company, or I don't want to say like growing. Maybe that's true as well. But I think each year you guys come out with like the next knickknack or accessory or like product or like way to accent ice fishing. And it's always something that I don't expect. And so I guess what was your first product?
Well, the very first product was the 8-inch Jiffy cover for the Snap-on blade cover for a Jiffy. So the first year I think we were at the ice show in St. Paul was like 2004, but we started the whole process of looking into patents and different things like that in 2002. So we say the company was founded in 2002. So we did have drawings and different things then. But the first ice show would have been in 2004, and it's St. Paul's a different show now than what it was then. But I've been ice fishing since I was a kid. So yeah, so we just invent stuff that we think of when we're out there that doesn't exist yet, or we just try to build a better mousetrap if the mousetrap isn't what we want, so to speak. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually really surprised to hear that the auger cover was your first product, because to me it seems like, man, like so much would go into that. And some of your other products maybe are like simpler. So I guess that really shocks me. For people at home who don't know what we're talking about, can I put you on the spot? Can you pull up this website? Can we pull up an auger cover?
She says put me on the spot, like
at this point, yeah, we should just expect it. But it is really, really unique. So I think that there's a lot of people out there that are familiar with this, but if you know what I'm talking about, it's easy to be excited, right? This is just a product that you know and love. For people who don't know what we're talking about, I mean, can you describe this auger cover as Josh is looking it up?
Well, basically it's 2 halves. It's round, of course. There's a hinge in the middle, and then when the blades come into the auger cover, it opens up. There's a band around the outside, and it just grabs the blades and holds it on. So it's all hands-free. You can take it off with your foot. I think if you play that video on the front of the website, it shows there you go, right there. That'll show one working in the video. It also is kind of a good breakdown of what we have as products available.
Well, if this doesn't get you excited to go ice fishing, I don't know if there's something wrong with that.
Well, and I was also thinking, like, out of all those products that we saw, so many of them are going to be at the expo. So that's really, really exciting. These auger covers, I guess, who doesn't know and love these?
Well, you'd be surprised. I mean, we've been around for over 20 years, and we'll have countless people come by the booth at trade shows and be like, "Oh, I've never seen one of those before." So it just must take millions and millions of dollars of advertising to become an overnight success. Is the only thing I can think of.
Well, and these covers are definitely worth their weight in gold, because we have 2 or 3 augers of different sizes, and each one of them have one of these on there. You can't, if you don't have one, you should get one and try it, because then you'll never want to use your other auger cover again.
Well,
I think
and the other thing that I'd point out about it is it's since day one they've been lifetime guaranteed. The band, the plastic, everything. So if you break it anyway, I'll replace it. There's no questions asked.
Well, okay, and funny because I was sitting here thinking, why do you even offer replacement bands? Because I've had mine forever and never had an issue. And of course, like little things are going to happen, right? Along the way.
Well, I'll give you, for instance, you'll see there's a 3-star review on that band right there. That happened today. So when I saw that, I emailed the guy and said, you don't have to buy one if you had it break. Their lifetime replacement. You just pay the shipping. So he gave me a 3-star review on the band. But, the only reason I sell them on there is I know people, when they buy a brand new one, sometimes they want to have one as a backup. So they'll just buy one then. But if they're all fully warranted. So if there's ever an issue, they just send us an email and we'll ship them one for the cost of the postage.
Well, and here's the deal: is that even if you get one for an emergency purpose, it's a lot cheaper just to be able to put your auger cover on and off so easy, instead of getting a rip in your $500 bibs, or heaven forbid you slice up a body part and then you're talking thousands of dollars to go to the hospital. So I really think, like,
Well, this is hands free.
This is the best $35 a guy could spend, in my opinion.
I've been to 3 ice fishing shows so far this year, and I keep a supply of spare bands for anybody who comes up to us at the booth and says, hey, I could use a new band. How do I get one? I'm like, here, just have it. And I think I've handed out 3, maybe 4, and how many thousands of people have we seen in the first 3-4 shows? So the bands are really hold up. I've got some covers, up above in my attic that probably are 6-8 years old. The band is still just fine. It's made of a special kind of rubber that's gas, oil, and UV light resistant. So, and also it's, a certain wall thickness and certain height so that it has the right stretch.
Well, the awesome thing is, over the years, you've really dedicated the Cold Snap has really dedicated itself to cover all the brands that have come and persisted in the industry. So you have the Eskimos and the Jiffies, Ions, K-Drill, Nils, Razor, Strike Master. So if you have an auger, this will probably fit it.
Exactly. So, there's a couple that it doesn't fit. It would be a shorter list for me to tell you what it doesn't fit than what it does fit. Mm-hmm. And there's, like I'll give you, for instance, an 8.5-inch K-Drill. We don't have one for that. But we also don't have a lot of people asking about that either. So, right. But if it turned out that all of a sudden it was super popular, then we'd probably make one for it. But a lot of these augers, like the Razor auger, it just turns out that the Strike Master version fit it. Same thing with the Nils. So we didn't have to make a new one. It was the same cover. We just make it easier for people to find. So
awesome.
Yeah. So that actually, it's every once in a while we get lucky and it works out that way.
The other thing that I probably should not admit in front of you, or maybe it's a good thing, but I would say, as far as, you're talking about lifetime warranty and everything. And again, like, you obviously don't pay me to say this, but I am not gentle on my gear, because when we talk auger cover and hands free, like, I'm that person, and I literally kick it off the bottom of the auger, and I have my spikes, my cleats on. So that's not super gentle. And then my sled is 20 feet that way. And so I do, I kick it like a soccer ball right on over by my sled. I should not admit that. But, when you have something, super frozen temperatures, you have something that looks like plastic. I don't know if it's plastic, right? But I'm just saying, it's something. I don't mean to just keep talking about this, but honestly, that's one of the reasons I love this product, is I beat it to death and it just continues.
Yeah, I've never been able to break one. I mean, how we test them is we put them in the freezer with, just with a half of it. And then we would throw it in the freezer overnight and then come out in the morning and throw it at the concrete as hard as you can. It would take 3 or 4 throws to break it. And from what I heard, I wasn't at the meeting, but the first year we sold covers to Strike Master as an accessory. They froze it overnight and they hit it with a hammer on stage in front of their pro staff, and it just bounced off and was just fine. So that was
funny.
that was a funny story I'd heard. Yeah, but
Okay.
you make a good point. You would think it would make sense that we would have come out with something simpler first, like maybe reel wrap bands or the T2 toothpick or something like that. But no, we actually started with a fairly complex product and worked our way backwards to the easier ones. And then now we just went the other way. We went to the ultra complex. We went to a whole performance apparel line.
So I guess where should we go next? What should we talk about next?
Well, you can work your way down the list. That's probably what we become the most known for, and what this where this comes from is something simple. I tell the pro staffers, hey, if you bring me a good idea and we go with it, I'll name it after you. So that's where T2 came from. I think I saw him on the chat just pop up. So if he's there, Todd, there he is right there. So he's in the chat room, I guess, talking. But that's why it's named T2. That's for Todd. He said to me, he goes, these things are awesome. I can't find them anymore. They discontinued them. So you need to make a mold and build it, but do this different and do this different. And so that's what we did. And then there was the first year was a simple version. And then like the next year I came out with a design change that actually made it so you could grip the hook better and twist on it. And we patented that back in like 2008, I think, or something like that. So it's been around a lot longer than it feels like. It feels like it's been 3 or 4 years, but it must be, closer to 7 or 8. So, but yeah, that's what we become the most known for because everybody sees it hang out on everybody's jacket and the Sunday, Saturday fishing shows on everybody's feed on Facebook or Instagram or on YouTube. So yeah, so that's where it comes from. That's where the name comes from as well. And big shout out to my good friend Todd for that. So he gets toothpicks whenever he wants.
Well, and I'm gonna have to pick another one up because mine is wore down to a nub. I'm to the point where I'm having to start filing in the little teeth again because I've wore them down so much. I've had it for a while now, I guess.
I tell you what, you come by the booth and I'll warranty it for you.
Oh, perfect. I'll bring it wet. But no, these are super awesome. And especially for the pan fishermen like bluegills, these are amazing. But also like the T2 XL, that one has worked really well for like the walleyes and pike and stuff too.
Yeah, a quick tip on those: if you ever get a gullet hooked fish, you can grab the fish by the gill plate on one side and going through the other gill plate with that tip. See, there's the patented notch in the bottom. You going through the other gill plate, hit the side of that hook shank and twist it. You'll cam that hook right out of the gullet, clean as a whistle, and you'll be able to put the fish back totally unharmed. And what would you normally have to do? You'd have to bite the line off and throw them back for fear of you just rip everything apart and the fish would die.
Yeah.
So with the T2 toothpick, you can pull those gullet hooked fish out easy as piece of cake.
Love it.
Newest member of the T2 hook remover family is that T2 tamer. That's got tape on the back, so it'll mount on the side of your permanent fish house. That's in the back of my boat. It's kind of nice. You just hang your lures there when you take them off before you put them away. They dry out and they also don't get caught in your carpet. But there's notches in the top as well to hold the pliers or that mouth spreader. And then that lanyard pops out of there. It's just a pressure fit in there, inset. It's closed cell foam, so it doesn't hold water. But those are $19.99, but we've been selling a lot of them at the shows because hard house fishermen are putting them by each hole or a couple in their fish house. So there's always hook removers available. And then when the rattle reel the hook is out and you're not fishing, say you got 10 rattle reels in your house, but there's only 2 of you. Where does the hook? Is it, you can just hook it in the foam so you don't catch your pant leg when you're walking around in the dark.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Actually,
From the comments section, Conrad is saying that he needs one for his kayak. And actually, that's a really great point as well.
Yeah, a lot of people I've talked to put this in the kayak because then it's just right handy where you want it. You can mount it anywhere on the plastic, and it's just very handy. It doesn't soak up water. Yep. And then if you want to use the lanyard on your shirt or coat, you can always just pull it out of there. But some people just hang a towel from it, and then they can dry your hands off, and it just goes right back.
Oh.
Or a line snippers or something you can hang on that ring, because it comes just like that in the picture. Yep.
Wow.
So we sold a lot of those at the shows.
Well, and when I look at a lot of these products, first of all, these are fun and easy things to pick up at an expo because yeah, that's fine. Because they're just easy little accessories. Plus, if you have like kids or friends or people that you're getting on the ice, it's fun to pick out those different colors. But these are also really great stocking stuffers and Christmas gifts, because I don't care who you are, you can always use an extra toothpick, or you can always use reel bands, or you can always use so many of these different accessories. So it looks like you are headed somewhere next. Where are you going?
I'm just looking.
Well, I mean, with the snow and cold weather coming, we are a dealer for the finest snowplows built in the United States, the Eagle snowplow line. So that's always something to keep in mind.
Well, and to me, this is actually one of those things that, like, one year I show up at an expo and all of a sudden you go from like, I don't want to say like a cute little booth, because that doesn't sound impressive, and you always have a really impressive booth, right?
Small.
Well, but then all of a sudden I show up and you have like a booth like 3 times the length, because you're selling like all of this different snow gear. And so I guess to me, that was really, really an amazing thing to see. That was one of those points when I referred to earlier in the show, the amount of growth that you go through, or the different products that you show up with every year. In part, what I'm referencing is I feel like every time we see you guys, your booth is expanding and changing and evolving, because that's what it takes to be an ice angler.
Yeah, you have to come out with something new to keep everybody's attention the next year. And if you're, it's always the old saying, it's green and growing, or ripe and rotting. So you have to come up with new ideas. And I guess on the rod front, we have our new Pro Series rods that have all the EVA with the rubber grip handle. We redesigned the grip, but we kept all our other rods in the lineup, the red line with cork series too. But I would have you click on the King Perch variant up there. That's really our new awesome flagship rod that I think is going to be just the go-to rod for people. That thing is an awesome 32-inch split grip. The blank is based on the original King Perch blank by our rodsmith, Jim Gerard, who won the rod build-off the 2 years they had it in St. Paul. It's been about 10, 12 years ago. I don't know if you guys remember that or not, but
yeah.
they had a rod build-off back then, and the blank that won it both times was the King Perch blank. And we cloned it and brought it out in the Cold Snap Redline Series, Pro Series line.
That's really a cool story, actually.
Yeah, so all our rods are designed by Jim Gerard, a good friend of ours, just a award-winning, I call it Rodsmith. I coined that term. I kind of like it, so I'm going to use it again. Rodsmith. And he designs all our rods, and we fish them. And then if we like it, we have them cloned, and we build everything to our exact specs that we want. The color, the eyelets, the handles, the logo on the butt, the thread wrap colors, everything. So...
Well, and I do really like that blackout series. Or does it have red wraps? It's a little bit hard to tell online.
Yeah, the wraps are red, and then the only other red is a little bit in the logo. But yeah, it's a nice, blacked out type design. Yeah, and it's surprising how much lighter the EVA foam with the rubber grip is versus cork. Like, it blew my mind. I didn't think it would make that big of a difference, but it seems half the weight. I know it's not half as much, but So the newer upgraded handle designs are very nice. People are loving them.
Well, and the nice thing is that you do have both those options. And so for those people who, might be diehard for that cork grip, or maybe they approach the booth and they're like certain that's what they're going to get. But, it's nice to be able to try something different or open your mind to, the other options, because that rubberized grip, that is really awesome.
One of the biggest groups of consumers that we've really hit home runs with is the fishing guides. They'll come and buy, 15 to 25 rods from us. And then they're back the next year saying, God, we loved them. They were great. The clients loved them. They, the feel, the sensitivity, they hold up to abuse. I had nothing but good things to say, and they're buying more again, the same fishing guides the next year. So that to me is about as good of an endorsement as you can get. If you've got clients using them and they're beating them up all year and they withstood all that, plus they're sensitive and they're in a good price point for a high-end rod, that's what want. Good value for the money.
When you talk about the guides, though, one of the things that hits really hard about that, excuse me, is that guides really need gear that's usable. It's like maybe your average fisherman has time to go out there and like fiddle with gear, or putz with this, or set that up, or do whatever. But it's like when you're a fishing guide, when you need to keep a group of people on fish, there isn't time to do that kind of stuff. And so, that's always really, really important to see what are the guides using, because usually that's stuff that has like longevity, right? It's not going to break, right? Because guides are hard on their equipment, but it's stuff that's going to be like usable and applicable to fishing. And it sounds crazy to break it down to so easy, but I mean, when it comes down to guiding, that's just what it has to be.
Mm-hmm. And then, so then you lit on what the newest part of our lineup is: the Cold Snap 1 jacket and bibs and just Cold Snap Performance apparel that we launched with this year. So if you click on the jacket, I'll tell you a little bit about it. So we've been developing this for 2 years, and it's as good as we could possibly make it in the respect that we use the very highest, best materials possible, best laminations with event laminations. The best fill is Primaloft Gold 900. So that's the best. Now, what does that mean? Well, you get all the warmth that you could possibly ever need in the least amount of fluff and fill, because it's very light and space age, that you get all the warmth in a very thin liner. Also, the suit, the bibs, and everything float. This is what we call a year-round system. So if you don't want to wear this liner inside the coat or the bibs, you can pull them out, and you got a full 100% waterproof rain suit for the summer that doesn't spare any of the details. Like if you go to look at the bibs there, Josh, like if you zoom in on the bib pockets there, those zippers are all YKK zippers, which is the highest quality, most expensive zipper you can get. The belting is something that's well thought out too. It's got 2 side belts to be able to just adjust for the waist fit without having a big bulky buckle in the middle. When you bend over, pokes you in the belly. The pockets you're into all the time in the front, those are magnet closures on there, so you don't scratch your hand with a bunch of Velcro. The knee pads are 8 millimeters of neoprene inside there and are pre-articulated. So when you look at those knees, it looks like there's somebody in it. That's already kind of formed the way the stitching was done. And again, full event lamination on the bibs as well. So 100% waterproof and the most breathable fabric that you can get. Just packed with tons of features. Now, if you look at the straps, these are not your grandpa's bib straps. These are robust, strong, anti-memory straps. So these here are going to be ones that are not going to twist or wear out and get real loose. The buckles are all super cold resistant break type stuff that aren't going to break in the cold. The way that the back is set up on the bibs, they all lays flat on your back, so it's not going to twist up. Inside the bibs is a pant liner that floats and is filled with the Primaloft Gold. So that will all be able to pull out in the summer. It zips all the way around the waist, so you don't have any buttons to bother you. And then in the summer, you can also remove the knee pads in this system. So if you're in the boat, you don't really need knee pads for the summer. You can just pull those out. Or say you had the suit for 5 or 6 years and the neoprene starts getting broke down or isn't as spongy as you wanted it to be, you can pull out the knee pad and put in a new one, and you got a brand new knee pad. The material we use on the knees is stuff that takes several 100,000 scratches on it and tests to wear through. So this is stuff that under normal use you probably wouldn't go through in 10 years. But it's still flexible and feels comfortable to wear. One of our pro staffers wore a prototype suit last year who typically fishes so hard. It does all kinds of ice tournaments and doesn't fish in a shack, just fishes outside. His name's Shaylin Lar. People know who he is. He said he'd go through a set of bibs every year. And he wore our cold snap prototype bibs all last year and said they held up awesome. Didn't have one leak in his knees or anything, and just raved about them. So, I mean, we couldn't have built this any better. We spent 2 years, all the function stuff and everything we built into it has been thought out and thought through for 2 years. And the prototypes we wore, there must have been 5 or 6 of us last year on and off that wore them. I wore it all last season, 13 different days on the ice, and it was remarkable. It was awesome. Loved it.
Okay, wait. What I'm hearing is that you only spent 13 days on the ice. I'm
wearing this suit because it showed up partway through the season, the prototype.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, because I'm busy working expos.
Well, that's part of the issue probably too, but it didn't show up until I think January. So some of the early ice days, I didn't wear it.
The other thing that I think that we saw at your booth, and I don't see on this website, don't you have a vest with a hood?
There's a vest right there.
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah,
just nice.
That has been the one that people have asked about the most and love. I mean, one of our pro staffers, I think he's in on the broadcast as well, Chad Cummings. He might be able to send a message up, but he was wearing that vest in the booth, and normally he's a little bigger guy and he gets a little warm if anything, but that has the event cloth in it as well, so it breathes, and he was very comfortable in it. That also, the other thing I didn't mention on the suit and the bibs, has hand warming pockets in the chest. So does this vest. There's hand warming pockets in the chest. So what do you do when you come out of your fish house in the winter and you don't have your coat on? Because the heater's on in there, right? Your hands start getting cold. You have to put them down in your bibs. It's real awkward. But on our bibs, there's a hand warming pocket right here. And on the jacket and in all these soft shell jackets as well, there's hand warming pockets. Along with the typical pockets you would have at the other level.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other point I would make about the clothing line is we're not starting out year one with this stuff. We came at it from a whole different angle. We've got a partner who's got 20 years of experience in a major waterfall hunting brand, and we partnered with him. He understands all this stuff inside and out, backwards and forwards, and has dealt with the manufacturers, the factories, the materials, everything for years. So we're not starting from year one. We're starting at year 21. And we're hitting the ground running. And I know that when people are going to be thinking, well, I'll maybe hang out a little bit and see how it performs for a year. Like, listen, you don't need to even do that, because these designs and everything are already tried and true in other areas in the world where they use it in harsher conditions almost than ice fishing, where you're going across barbed wire fences, you're slogging through marshes. And so this type of stuff has all the bugs worked out of it over 20 years of experience in the waterfall hunting industry. We basically changed the designs and added some more insulation to it here and there to just make it be the best possible thing. It's a collaboration between a bunch of our pro staffers. We've got over 100 pro staffers We didn't tell every single one of them about it. Some of them were surprised, as you guys probably were when you saw it, but there was 6 or 8 of us, key people in the industry that, I took their input and my input, and we worked in collaboration for 2 years on this. But something I'm very, very proud of. I can't find anything that I would change in this. There's features. I still found a feature a couple weeks ago that I didn't even realize was there. But we tried to list them. I think Chad Cummings was counting the different pockets between the event liner on the outside, and the internal coat on the thing is a separate coat. Is just an awesome piece as well. He was up to over 20 some pockets. So I mean, this is a system. It's not just a garment.
And for people who want to check things out, try things on, all that good stuff, is that going to be available at the expos coming up?
Yes, we'll be in St. Paul and Oshkosh with the full contingent, with the whole booth for try-ons and everything. We will have a booth in Duluth, but it will not have any of the apparel there. That's going to have auger covers, toothpicks, all the other products that we see, but not the apparel. But we will be in St. Paul, Oshkosh, and we'll be at the Northwest Sports Show in Minneapolis in March as well. And I believe we might go to Novi in Detroit. So I haven't quite booked that one yet.
That's sweet.
Josh is flipping through, and it's hard to not just get distracted by just all of the different things that you have around. But I feel like one thing that we kind of skimmed over that I feel like we should talk about, and I know this is kind of like a little product or whatever, but this is a really, I guess, novel thing, a really great thing. So when we were talking before about your rods, and we were talking about the different handles and all those different options, and I kind of sometimes laugh when people I don't want to say care so much about handles, because then so often they'll go home and they duct tape a reel to it. It's like, oh, well, then why did you care about the grip? Or, whatever. That's not for me to judge. That's not what I'm saying. But when you have these different reel bands like this that are skinny, that's kind of thing that can really help, I guess, preserve that grip or whatever that you picked out. Yeah. And so if you want something that's specifically cork or something that's specifically not, then you should get that functionality out of it. But the other thing that you're showing, and I think it's even on that rod, is people used to really struggle with the split grip. So I think we all kind of understand the concept of how to get these reel bands on, but with the split grip, this Pro Kit is what makes that possible.
Yep. So yeah, I actually have one in the drawer here, so I can pull it out and show you. So this comes with everything you need to get across the grip, the split grip. So that was one of the things we heard for a couple of years. Like, well, it's great, but how the heck do you get across the split grip? So what this tube does is, it's actually, the tube itself is split, so you can it'll fit any size. So then that goes across there. So that's across the split grip. And then the part that, so this is the tube that the bands come in. And then this goes over that part. And then you roll the bands up, starting on here. I'll use green. So that's your Green Bay Packer color. And then it just rolls up the ramp like that. Across the bridge tube. And right onto the handle. Then you just pull this off and away you go. This is my personal rod, so I don't want to have a green one on there with a white one. So I'm just going to pull it off. But yeah, so it's really that easy. And it all comes in that kit. You get enough to do 8 rod and reels in that Pro Kit. And then all the extra bands you have, you just put those in the tube. And there's a cap that goes on the end. And you can keep them in your rod bag and yeah, simple. So that's a lot of the stuff that we have is just simple. That's usable, that you're going to use every day when you go out and fish. And if you put tape on your reel handle, all it does is insulate your hand from the vibrations of the bites. So the more cork handle, or in this case, the EVA with the rubber grip that's available to hold. And that's why a lot of people really like the split grips. It isn't because they really need to hold on to it when they're fighting a fish. It's the webbing of your palm fits and touches the rod blank. So you got another contact area to feel the bites. And this is a king perch blank right here. So this is my precious.
Well, and it's fun to be able to choose the different colors of the reel bands to match your rod or accent it or, make a pattern or whatever it is. Let's say that you have a bunch of different rods and you just like blackout theme. You could, arrange your rods based on the colors of the reel bands, whether it's for walleye or perch or crappies or whatever, So there's a whole bunch of different uses outside of just aesthetic, and that's really fun.
Yeah, like for instance, if you had 2 pound test, all your 2 pound tests could be white reel bands. All your 4 pound tests could be green. All your bluegill rods could be blue. I mean, you could just do anything you want, but a lot of it is just aesthetics. Some people have blue and white wraps on their thread wraps on their eyelets, so they'll go blue and white on the reel bands, and then it matches. So, just personal preference.
Yeah. The other thing that I have to say, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out, but you have a lot of reel bands holding your reel on right now. That example that you just showed. When I do mine, I don't use that many.
Yeah, I do. You only need, depends on. Here's what I would tell people. I typically, I'll put 3 on the back and then 2 on the front. But on that rod, I wouldn't need it. It's just in my head, I kind of like that. I got plenty of them, so I'll put an extra one on. But you're right, you only really need 2 in 2. The only time you need 3 on the back really is if you're fishing 6 pound test and bigger, and you got your drag tight. Then you might feel your reel maybe move a tiny bit. But when you have 3 in the back, you can fish 12 pound test and fish sturgeons off the bottom and you won't move. That's why I put 3 on there. That's just me, because a lot of times I'll space them that way. I can go blue, white, then blue, white, blue, so that there's a stripe. So again, that's just me. But 2 and 2 is plenty, especially for panfish rods. If you had a walleye rod set up with 6 pound test, I might go 3 on the back just because. But you can get by with 4, like you guys said. That's how many you normally use.
I've even sometimes just gotten away with 2 on the top and 1 on the bottom.
Yeah, you can do that too, because it's more important the back ones, to tell you the truth, than the front ones. So you could get away with 2 and 1, and you're fishing 2 to 3 or 4 pound test, and yet as long as your drag is set the way it's supposed to be, you wouldn't have a problem. Yep.
Yeah.
But I know the guy who buys them by the barrel load, so I have plenty.
Any pink or purple coming out then?
No, the thing is, the manufacturer where we get them, we already get every color they make. So I've been trying, and they wanted I said, well, if I want a custom color, I'd have to buy 1 million of them. And I think I calculated at the time a few years ago, I'm like, I think it would take me over 10 or 12 years to go through that many. I don't know how many we sell now, but it would. I would still have a whole warehouse full of them.
I bet the bulk price is great.
Bulk price is reasonable, but we sell them to custom rod builders for 4 cents a piece. So
nice.
We don't sell them for very much either. So yeah. So if any custom rod builders are out there wondering where you get them, just send us an email. We'll sell them to you bulk for 4 cents per 100. So, and awesome. It's good for us because we like being associated with good quality rods. And it's it really is the best way to showcase their talent by not covering it up, the handles up with tape and whatever. Mm-hmm. So we're happy to work with them, and we don't make much off it, but it's all right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at the time and I'm not cutting us off yet, but we are coming a little bit close to the end. So what have I missed that we should highlight?
Well, I want to make sure that everybody that gets a chance to swing by the booth stops in and says hi and checks out the new clothing line. Like I said, I've never been more proud of anything other than maybe my family. But this is, to some degree, is a new baby in the family, but I feel like we adopted like a superstar. This was or maybe like a pet that's already trained to do backflips and everything. I don't know. But no, the clothing line is something I'm very proud of, and I know that it's going to make waves in the industry. There's nothing else like it. I mean, you're basically buying a 5-in-1 suit with the different combinations you can wear, the bibs and the jackets and the liners and everything. We call it a 5-in-1 year-round system. Even the outside shell, the event shell, if you wear that in the summer, you'll be able to go 60 miles an hour down the lake without your hood ripping back off your head. Everything has been thought through to the nth degree. We had it out on Wednesday out in the Missouri River and fished. And the guys loved it. We got some great images, great video. Fish were biting. Yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, it was chilly, but in the new CS1 jacket and bibs, it was nice and toasty. I mean, compared to, think about it, it's hot when you're out fishing when it's 45 or 35 ice fishing. When you're 35 on the river fishing out of a boat, it feels bone cold. I don't know why that is, but I think maybe our blood hasn't gotten thick yet. But in those jackets and bibs sets, we were toasty warm.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, and the fun thing about a booth like yours, is it is kind of a one-stop shop, like not on purpose. I mean, there's great things. That's why you come to the expos. There's tons of cool things to see. But, in one place, suits, accessories for moving snow, you have rods, you have, honestly, tackle. Don't you have some kind of plastics and stuff on your website? I don't know if that's...
Yeah, that's another one, real quick. That's another one that was named after a pro staffer. It's called the Craigie. The weird thing about that is that's probably 8 or 10-year-old bait. That was rated number 5 by, let me see, Field and Stream magazine for top 10 best ice fishing lures of all time was number 5.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and that thing, if you ever fish trout or around trout, that was designed to catch trout. Well, originally for trout, but I know people who have caught walleyes on them and they said they wouldn't bite live bait. I know guys that have fished crappies with them and, cut part of the tail off and used them. It's a Mackie plastic, but it's legit like a 3-inch long shrimp. So, and it's got all the Mackie juice and everything that was in there. So yeah, if you click on that one, that's the go-to ice fishing lure. It's a Magnum Mackie plastic in a mysis shrimp pattern. But that is probably the hottest lake trout jig or bait plastic in the Black Hills right now, and has been for at least 5 or 6 seasons. So if anybody's lake trout fishing, throw that in front of them. They inhale it.
And what color?
What color? The glow is good. The yellow and the black and the white seem to sell the most. But I've got like probably 24 pictures now of people with their personal best fish that they caught on a Craigie XL.
That's awesome.
And again, that's Craig Euler designed that bait. So that's why it has his name. That's why it's called Craigie.
Yeah. That's really cool. And, what a cool team focus. You're talking about the T2 toothpick. We're talking about the plastic. We're talking about the creation of your whole clothing line. All of these things, ultimately come down to, being an ice fisherman. And yeah, a great team. So that is really a super cool thing.
Well, I think it's important that in life that you are able to collaborate and you don't have to. And the best thing about the suit is I kind of considered it like if you're going to start a restaurant and you had these certain kind of cheese sticks at this bar down the road that were your favorite, and then the way they did the smash burgers at this restaurant you really liked, and then the malts or the onion rings at this way they do it over there are great. If you just cloned like those French fries and those onion rings that you really liked and you put them all on your menu, that's how I feel about the suit. So we basically got everything we liked on other suits and added stuff that nobody has thought of before and put it all into one, but then did it with the best fabrics, the best zippers, the best fill, and put it all in one spot with something we're proud of. Yep.
That's cool. And then we're definitely looking forward to bumping into you this weekend at St. Paul, and definitely the weekend after, actually in Wisconsin.
Yes, ma'am. I'll be at the inaugural Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo from December 8th through the 10th. I'm reading it off here.
Yeah, perfect.
When you hop from show to show, it gets to be a lot. It's like almost hard to keep track of. You keep track of time by weekends, but by Fargo, then Blaine, and then Thanksgiving, and then
Thanksgiving went very fast, by the way. This is the fastest 5-day weekend I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's so funny. Goodness, I was almost about to start wrapping up the show, but I do have to say, we have a giveaway, but what I want to do is put together a little prize package.
Yeah,
so normally we like pick out of the money bag that Josh was talking about, the Lakewood bag that we have, but I think honestly I have a little prize package set aside, and some of it is fun things that we picked up at expos. Some of it is just different supporters. Honestly, it's going to be a mishmash and it's going to be a surprise. So the way that you are entered into winning this, I know that we are broadcasting this to a few different places right now, but we honestly keep track for this little event is go and make a comment on the Crappie Junction Facebook page. Anybody who does that by I think 9:00 tonight will be entered for the drawing. Certainly would love when people replay this later and join us anytime that you're available. But for those that are able to tune in kind of with us in that spot, we're going to enter you guys into that drawing for that prize pack. So looking forward to that. And then we'll get that sent out soon after.
Awesome. That's cool.
Thanks,
Jeff. Nice you guys do fun things like that.
Yeah,
we try and we appreciate you guys for all of our guests. You know, Dan, we appreciate when you guys take time out of your busy schedule to come chat with us, because we know it's not easy. The fishing industry is always busy no matter what time of year it is. So we're very grateful for you to come and visit with us.
I was just working on the rest of finishing up some final touches on the display for the St. Paul Ice Show. We got a new TV on top of our display rack, and I'm actually wearing one of our new Cold Snap hoodies and the new blacked out logo.
That's awesome.
I like that. That's awesome.
It's super comfortable.
Wait, before we wrap up, where did the crab and the logo come from?
That's a good question. The original prototype auger cover, if you could imagine, the one that we have now only opens a little ways and then comes back. But the original one was going to open past center and then stay open a ways. So then when the auger come in, it would close, and there would actually have been a cover on the top too. So it would have come around the whole auger and closed it. So at the time, I was sitting there like trying to explain it. And it was like these two claws that come over and closed over. So I'm like, oh, that'd be like a crab, or,
oh my gosh,
so I'm like, like this with the crabs. And I was trying, and then I'm like, well, that would be kind of a cool mascot. Yeah. And then I thought, well, Cold Snap. But then I'm like, is that a good name for a company? Because it kind of sounds like Cold Break. And I don't want people to think the stuff's going to break. But no, Cold Snap stuck. And then the crabs, I was going through clip art and I found something that I liked and had them redesign it a little bit so we could have it our own. And then ever since then, it just stuck. But yeah, you wouldn't think a crab would be something for ice fishing, but it just kind of stuck. And it's one of the most recognized logos, I think, in the ice fishing business.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I want to get a pro staffer to wear the crab. We got a perfect crab costume that somebody had at work.
Yeah.
And I want to get it and have somebody run around the ice show and get their pictures taken, but I can't get anybody to wear it. So if somebody wants to volunteer, I'll buy them food and take them out to dinner that night if they want to volunteer a couple days at the ice show. Where Chad says no. He's in the background. Todd says he'll wear it. I'm not taking Todd. I need you're a face of a company. You got to be the crab costume. Yeah, we need your face.
This is so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of these stories. And hopefully we find somebody to be in the crab costume because I want to say I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. If anybody's in the mood for it, reach out. And we'll get you. You got to wear red leggings, and that's part of it. So yeah, but anybody who wants to do it, reach out. I'll get them in the crab costume.
Oh my goodness. Oh, awesome. Well, Dan, thank you so much for being here tonight.
My pleasure.
And to the people at home, thank you guys so much for being here as well, because that is always a huge part of the fun. And go and put a comment on that Crappie Junction Facebook page to enter yourself into that drawing. And I guess with that, looking forward to seeing you at the Ice Expos or on tomorrow's edition of The Night Bite.